So John had this crazy idea to ride from Sydney to Canberra via gravel. And the weekend that he chooses just happens to be the hottest weekend that we've had in like 100 years in spring. I found out about the ride a couple days beforehand, and when John invited me to do the ride, I looked at the weather forecast and I thought to myself, no way, who's going to ride in 40-degree heat over 223 Ks or something? Like, who would do that? That's stupid. Anyway, before I knew it, I was buying bottle cages, extra water bottles, and I was mentally and preparing and committing to this ride. So I dropped all my other cycling commitments and I was joining John on day 2 of the adventure, which was the Nowra to Canberra portion. So this is what happened. I woke up on Saturday, had a pretty low whoop score, about 25%, so I must have been excited, didn't sleep too well. We departed from our mate's place in Nowra at about 7 a.m. and it was warm. It was definitely not cool, not a cool morning at all. The roads were nice, we were off to a good start, but hey, we're still on asphalt at this point.
So it's 60 is the first hard part, all done. Most of the climbing for the day. 100 we get to Nowra, 155 to Braidwood, 165 to the last pair of climbs, and then 185 it's mostly downhill to the finish at 230. So see what happens.
There you have it, folks. I'm nervous, but I'm excited. Just see how this goes.
After about an hour, we got on a gravel road.
Let the gravel begin.
And we hit some elevation. And that's when we really started to initially feel the heat.
Just waiting for a mate.
It's not flat. I've got a flatland heritage.
Up to your people out here.
And our jerseys just started changing from their deep dark color to like a tie-dye pattern, and that's from all the salt that just started just seeping out of us, like uncontrollably, just because it was getting warm at this stage. It's about 8-9 a.m, which is still early days yet, but I just remember thinking, we've got a whole day of this, like how are we gonna manage? After about 2.5 hours, we'd run out of water completely, and nobody said anything at the time, but like we needed water. Because of all the elevation and the fact that we'd run out of water, after about 2.5 hours, we were only averaging like 21, 22 Ks an hour, which was like not fast enough. We needed to be averaging like just under 30, that's what we forecast, to arrive in Canberra at a reasonable hour where our friends from Sydney were driving to come pick us up at around 3:30, 4 p.m. At this rate, there is no way that was happening. Not a chance. But we had a bit of a saving grace. Throughout our journey, we had a photographer follow us, and he was driving a 4-wheel drive. He only joined the adventure a couple days before as well. He was like, "Hey, Chris, you doing any epic rides this week?" I'm like, "Yeah, maybe. There's this trip we're doing," and then he just jumped on the back of it and came for it and joined us. So he was following us in the car for the majority of the day. The only parts he couldn't follow us on were the gravel sections that were gated, and he obviously couldn't get his 4-wheel drive past the locked gated sections. But we met for the majority of the day. He was behind us, and anytime we ran out of water, we could just stop at the car, get a refill, get snacks, and if we didn't have him, we would have been goners. Like, we would have had to turn around. We would have had to stop. There's no way we could have gone as far as we did. So how far did we go? Well, by 11 a.m, I think we'd only done like 60 or odd Ks, and we'd been riding for like 4 hours. So we're still only averaging like 21 Ks an hour or something like that. So we hadn't made up any of the time that we thought we would, like as in lifting our average speed when we got to like flatter sections of the day, because obviously you travel faster on the flatter sections versus when you're going up hills, you go much slower. And it was really hot. I remember slamming a can of Coke, and I was like, this is my saving grace. Like, this is everything right now. This can of Coke, it's getting me through. Anyway, we kept going. There was a long asphalt section, and the heat was really, I think, getting to us at this point, because I just remember John saying, like, whose idea was this? Like, why are we out here? And I was still buzzing off the coke, so I just kind of laughed at Jon's statement. But things just escalated from there. From about lunchtime onwards, 12 p.m. onwards, the sun was really beating down on us, and I think we'd only hit like 80 Ks at this point. Nevertheless, we kept going. At the 100K mark,
We just hit the 100-kilometer mark. It's a little wins. Both pretty salty. Feeling okay. Almost out of water though. And it's dry.
we filled up our bottles, we kept going. I had a couple of low blood sugars, so I had to stop and have some food. Luckily, we had Charlie from Sumom, the photographer, who was following us in that support vehicle. He was our lifeline. Like, as I said before, without him, like, I cannot even, like, it was that hot. We just needed someone with us. It was almost like a safety thing. Yeah. Finally, we got to 120 Ks, and this was really the tipping point for me, because at this point, I had told Jon, like, keep going. He wanted to go faster than me. He's a faster rider than me. He was handling the heat a little bit better. And I was like, I'll meet you at the next town. Just go. Like, I'm sick of slowing you up. And these last 20 Ks in the heat to Braidwood, which was the next town, it was so tough. I remember going up these, like, slight little inclines, and I could see the crest of the hills, and just each hill, I was just getting more and more fatigued. I started cramping uncontrollably, and on this last crest, with only 10 Ks to go to Braidwood, the town, I remember, like, getting dizzy, and I was like, I can't go anymore. Like, that's never really happened.
Low blood sugar. Got me. Just have to rest. Just wait it out.
I got dizzy, and I'm like, I have to get off my bike. I have to get off. So I just got off my bike, laid on the road for a bit, and after about 5 minutes, I got up, and I'm like, oh crap, still dizzy, still cramping. Got back down, laid down for another 10 minutes, and then at this point, several cars had come past me, and they were just like, hey mate, you right? And I'm like, oh yeah, just having a bit of a rest. And I think that's when I realized that there's no way we're making it to Canberra. Like, not a chance. At this point, I was packing it up. Like, when I got to Braidwood, if I can even get there, I'm like, I'm jumping straight in the car. I'm having a Powerade or 10, and, like, that's it. It's a done deal. Like, my fate has been sealed. Yeah. It's like, this is stupid. There's nothing else out here for me. Like, I've gone deep enough. I obviously don't handle the heat so well. So somehow, I ate some food, I rested, and just rode the last 10 Ks to Braidwood. Now, these sections were real flat, so there was this howling crosswinds, and the air was so hot. I remember, like, just trying to... all the saliva in my mouth was just non-existent, and it was just dry, and it was just ruthless. It felt like I was riding through a desert, even though it was just a road with fields on either end. But yeah, I got to Braidwood. I saw Jon there. He had already smashed like 2 pies at this local bakery. He had a Powerade there ready to go. And all of a sudden, we just started laughing about everything.
Some other day. And half a sandwich. When I got here, I was full feeling like you was. I had like a skull of coke, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna spew.
And I was like cramping uncontrollably as well, which was kind of annoying.
Yeah, he's like stopped in the hill. I was like, you're right. I was like, yeah, I'm just cramping.
And Jon reassured me that he was calling it quits too. And that was it. That was the end of our ride there. From then on, it was just beers at the pub, and our mates from Sydney came and picked us up. Troy and Box, absolute legends.
I'm pretty salty.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, I was following a model. So
Charlie, this is
Charlie.
Charlie, nice to meet you. Yeah, it's a bit sweaty, eh?
And we just had a laugh all the way back to Sydney. Charlie went home. He was a legend too. Like, as I said, he was our saving grace. But you know what? After all this, like, I want to do it. I want to get this ride done. I want to ride from Nowra to Canberra. It's like I need to go back. I need to finish it. I need that closure. Yeah. I know this is a bit all over the place, this story, but if you liked it and you want more of these, let me know, because I like making them.